Right then, welcome back. Manchester United, straight on the back of the defeat against Nottingham Forest, now have to contend with Manchester City in the Manchester Derby at Old Trafford tomorrow afternoon. Yay. I actually think that this game suits us a little bit better than Forest did. Everything Forest are good at, United are bad at. And this Manchester City team, it offers us opportunities, but the lack of goals still makes me go, probably going to be a draw, right? And the good news is this is by no means the conventional Manchester City side. They are underperforming. There are some core fundamental values that are still there. And even though players might change, he's not going to. Certainly not massively, at least. Anyway, there might be evolutions. Now, the base formation remains a 4-3-3. In possession, it does transition into a 3-2-4-1 or even a 2-3-5, depending on the opposition. Out of possession, it will be 4-4-2. It is the best defensive shape that you can have. Occasionally, that will look like a 4-1-4-1, depending on who and where they want to press and how high they would like to recover the ball. Pep fundamentally values possession, suffocation. They want to keep the ball. They want to wear you down. They want to move you around the pitch and try and find overloads. That's what he's looking to do. He's looking to try and put more men into a certain area of the pitch, drag players out of position in a different area of the pitch to try and redress the overload that they've created, and then exploit that space that they've created. This season, City's possession game has evolved, and it all originated with the shift to a sort of a back three while they're attacking, the 3-2-4-1, if you like. They will still dominate the ball. That's what they're looking to do. They're going to average, or they have been averaging, 65.8% possession per game. That's not going to change anytime soon. They are absolute masters at that craft. You will still see that iconic side-to-side passing for an opening. But there is a new strategy that City are trying to tap into. One of the big changes made by Pep in 2025 is to introduce a little bit of directness in their transitional play. This year, they've been a lot more inclined to play direct and hit teams on the counter. Ederson's distribution is 42.1 passes per game, but a large majority of those passes are being over 40 yards, which is not typical for a goalkeeper in a traditional Pep Guardiola side. Their 2-3-5 works best with quite direct, long distribution. They're overloading the back line. It's almost a throwback to Walter Winterbottom English football of the 1800s. It's mental. But the change has also seen the consistent selection of Jeremy Doku, a non-traditional winger with a top speed that spearheads both their current attack and their transitions. That trademark inverted fullback, that choking attacking overload, that's still there. And they're going to do everything that they can to create for their forward line. Haaland is having an off season and might be injured for this game. I know he took a knock. I haven't seen whether he's going to be featuring in this one yet, but he's having an off season and he's way below what his best is, but he's still scored 21 goals. I would love a forward having an off season like that at the moment. And he's scoring more in recent weeks as well. Now, out of possession, City's pressing is absolutely relentless. They average 11.3 shots per game from their own pressing. We don't typically get 11 shots off in a game. Just FYI. They will utilise that 4-4-2 with a press. And obviously, Rodri was instrumental in that. He's a monumental miss for them. There's some talk he could return by the end of the season. But they still will look to force the errors. They're still going to look to suffocate teams. They're still going to look to try and stop you playing out and try and turn the ball over and make you make mistakes high up the pitch. And the stats do show that it's incredibly effective despite their poor results overall. Without Rodri, things are disjointed for them. And at times, City are able to put that behind them and they start to settle down. Nico Gonzalez from Porto has been one way that they've tried to fill that void. Players like Doku, Foden, Marmoush, They're absolutely deadly on the transition. They love to thrive in those opportunities. They pick the ball up somewhere. They drive it into somewhere dangerous themselves. Rather than the pass-first option that a lot of City players have got, they're going to look to dribble with it first. And if they're not popping up with a shot, they're finding somebody else in space while teams are out of shape. And a key element for City's play has typically always been like a bit of a midfield dominance, often supported by attackers dropping in, often supported by fullbacks pushing up, even by centre-halves pushing up to overload that central area of the pitch. But the squad depth, the versatility, and the machine-like efficiency that they've got means that when they're at their best, you need a photograph of the ball because you ain't going to see it. The problem this City side has got is that they're not at their best, and they have got plenty of exploitable weaknesses, probably more weaknesses than they've ever had under Pep. And the key message here has got to be putting out a team that's capable to target those weaknesses. The problem United have got is those players are fucking injured or at Aston Villa. Right. City's defence doesn't work like it used to be pretty blunt. Their high line is vulnerable. Opta's measuring that high line at 47.2 metres up the pitch. That leaves a lot of space in behind, and the defensive line is frequently getting caught out, more and more so. Possibly because it's a little bit more inexperienced than it has been. You're seeing the likes of Lewis, Kuzanov. Like, these are players that are, they're certainly not Kyle Walker. City's dependency on Rodri has seen them crumble. Gundogan's lesser physicality and decline in ability have been highlighted badly. De Bruyne's decline has been a factor in City's fall from perfection. And the point is, clubs are causing a lot of trouble in possession. If you've got pace and directness and trickery, the likes of we've seen at Brighton and Bournemouth, or even Nottingham Forest forced a disaster for City, they're taking the game to City in those ways, in a little bit of the way that we saw Ole Gunnar Solskjaer do a few years back. But they're taking the game to City, not being afraid of them, being sensible, covering their bases, and then getting at City when they get the opportunity to. Football is changing, and the transitions of football are very, very important at the moment. And Pep is kind of being left behind with that a little bit. Star man for City, I'm going to say Marmoush. 5 goals in 8 league games since he arrived. One of the better ball strikers in the league. Seems like a bit of a natural finisher. He's a very different proposition to Haaland. Very lively, good movement, good instinct. You can't take them lightly. You can't just think, oh, no Haaland, piece of piss. He's one of them, innit? In terms of United, just as I was starting to record, I heard Ligt is out. Great. So I'm going with Onana. It'll be Maguire. It just will be, right? Onana, Mazraoui, Maguire, Euro. That's your back three. I don't think there's a ton of options outside of those three, so that will be your back three. Dalot and Dorgu, fully expect that to be your wing backs. I think it'll be Ugarte and Casemiro. Don't necessarily agree with it, but that's what I think it will be. And we're going to sit back. We are going to sit back. And I think Bruno in the forward line with Xerxes and I hope it's Højlund, in all honesty, rather than putting Xerxes forward and using Garnacho. Garnacho is a bit of a threat on a transition. Realistically, the way you win this game is Marcus Rashford and Amad Diallo. They will not be lining up on Sunday at Old Trafford. So how do you do it without them? Is it all eyes on Dorgu? Got on the left-hand side? Højlund has got pace. And he's actually got pace. People think Garnacho has got pace. He doesn't have pace. He's tenacious. He works hard. He's relentless. But he's not quick. If he bursts in behind, he gets caught. He's not really got a skill set of pace. Tenacity is his biggest attribute. Who's United's match winner in this? Probably Ugarte. Possibly Maguire. Because United are going to get penned in. It's going to be a defensive performance. Maybe Mazraoui. It's going to be a real defensive performance. How do we win this? I'm not sure we can. Anyway, this is brought to you by our friends at Hollywood Bets, as always. we did win the reverse fixture, and we now have a chance to complete the double. City sitting in 5th place, fighting to secure a Champions League spot for next season. Both teams desperate for points. Technically, they're the only ones with something to play for. United are playing for pride. Does that make us dangerous? We'll find out, I guess, won't we? Here's the bet that we're going for this week. We're going for Marmoush, 1 shot on target. Bruno Fernandes to get 1+ shot on target. Both teams to score. Over 8.5 match corners, and Casemiro to be booked. That's been boosted from 7-1 to 9-1. So if you place a £10 bet on that, you could win £100 back. And if you would like to claim that bet boost, it's simple. All you got to do is click the link in the description. If you're new to Hollywood Bets, you can create an account and take advantage of their excellent new customer offers, which are also linked in the description. Odds are subject to change. You must be over 18 to participate. Remember that football is unpredictable, and the bet is designed to enhance your viewing experience and certainly not a guarantee of a win. For more help on information on responsible gaming, please check out begambleaware.org. So how do you beat this team then? Well, the first thing that you've got to do is be good on transitions. That's our trademark against this City team. We don't really have the personnel that are going to exploit that in the same way that we have in previous years, i.e. Rashford, who was sensational at doing that, particularly against Manchester City. But that is probably how you're going to be able to maximise what you do. That's it. Can you isolate Dorgu? Maybe. That might be the outlet that you're looking for. But can he come inside and score, or is he going to need someone to go with him that he can pass to? More than likely. City's defensive options actually aren't all that blessed with pace. Ruben Dias, in particular, can get exploited in decent fashion. If you can get Højlund not bothering to hand fight and actually go and make him running behind, there's options there. There's not a plethora of quick players, but winning the ball up high and being direct could be what it takes. Mason Mount could have a lot to say in this, but I don't think he starts. So it's going to have to be coming on. You got to deny the half spaces. City setting up more and more and more out of the comfort zone. And that's where you can exploit that and force the errors. Force a drop in confidence. Force them making mistakes and see if you can make something happen. Their errors most come from positional or maybe being pressed a little bit when they've not quite had a good first touch. Make it uncomfortable for them at Old Trafford. Hopefully it's a loud atmosphere. And see what you can do. But again, I go into this game with just so little confidence that we're going to be able to score a goal. And that's a problem. You can't score goals, you can't win games. You can only not lose them. But do you back us to keep a clean sheet? Because I don't. Let me know your score predictions in the comments below. 1-1 is probably what I'm thinking about. See you in a bit. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.